Thanks, everyone. At this time, I would like to introduce today's guest speaker. Mayor Brad Tabke is the founder and owner of Ethical Landscape Consultants. He took office as mayor of Shakopee in January of 2012 and has been focusing on promoting Shakopee's economic development, in addition to creating an awareness of Shakopee's diverse populations and planning for the future. Brad graduated from Iowa State with a Bachelor of Science in Horticulture. He's worked in Chicago and the Twin Cities, managing commercial and residential landscapes with a focus, there are a lot of big words in here, on environmental sustainability and responsibility. Brad and his wife Katie live in Shakopee with their daughters Jean and Isla and Mackenzie the Beagle. Mayor Tabke.
Do I need the microphone? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Then I will have the microphone. On. All right, there we go. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for being here. It's great to see a crowd. We got a lot of good things to talk about. We had a phenomenal last year in Shakopee, so we're going to talk a little bit about 2014, where we've come from, 2015, where we're going, and then do Q&A at the end. So I'll answer most any question that you've got, except for ones from Kathy. I'll ignore all those. But I just want to say, again, thank you to elected officials that are here. We've got Kathy Mokles on council, Jay Whiting on council, Mike Beard on Scott County Commissioner, and Barbara Marshall back there, Scott County Commissioner. Thank you very much for being here and representing Shakopee. It's great to have you folks here. And then we also have a ton of city staff here, and everybody got up and introduced themselves. And the reason why we're having such a successful year and so many great things going on in Shakopee is because of all the staff folks who are in this room today and the ones who aren't in the room. So make sure to always say thank you to them. It's a pretty thankless job a lot of the time. And so it's really important that we make sure that everybody understands that the reason we're going in the directions we are is because of the great people in this room. So thank you very much, everybody, for being here. So like I said, first we're going to start with a little recap of 2014. Mike, am I in your way? And Mike, you cannot call me, just so you know.
I turned it off.
All right.
She made me turn
Thank you for saying. Mike has a tendency when I use my phone as a remote for my PowerPoint to give me a call in the middle of the presentation, which is just awesome, but we're good. So, but 2014 was a year of huge economic development in the city of Shakopee. We have had extraordinary expansion of the business community with a lot of new and a lot of existing businesses growing in our community here. Shakopee's unemployment dropped from 4.8 at the beginning of the year to 3.3 at the end of the year. We were at 2.8 unemployment for November, which is really incredible. We also have from January 1, 2013 to January 1, 2014, when all of the numbers are taken for taxable market value and those kinds of things, we had a $53.7 million increase in our tax and our market value for the city of Shakopee over the course of 2013 is what that is, and so that's the taxes for 2015 are based on January 1, 2014, which I didn't expect to get into the wonkiness of the way taxes work. But from January 1, 2014 to January 1, 2015, we have all of our new businesses coming on the line. We've got Bear and Rub and Shutterfly, and all those come into effect for the 2016. So we're headed in great places for our tax base for the community. As well as 2014 was really a rebirth of Main Street Shakopee. We've had great success in growing and working through partnerships and a lot of people investing in our community. It's been phenomenal to see all of that happening on Main Street. So it's been a lot of fun. We'll get into that in a little bit as well. So new businesses, a lot of people know about these. You've heard a lot of the stories about Rosemont Emerson, Shutterfly, Data Card, Compass, Recovery Technology Solutions, and Badger Hill, which is one of my favorites, of course. So we've got these great businesses who have come to Shakopee and are growing and creating jobs and being part of our community. But a story that's not really told nearly as much is this story. These companies here, TE Connectivity, Rub, Bayer Crop Sciences, Gavilon Fertilizer, Certainteed, and quite a few others are companies who have been long-standing Shakopee companies who have been here for a long time, and over the course of the last year have decided that it's time for them to grow and expand. And they have without any incentives or help from the city or anything like that, they've chosen to grow and continue to be part of the community. So each of these has either done a major expansion in the last year here in Shakopee, or they have taken and built new buildings and grown and created new jobs right here in the community. So it's really great to have these businesses believing in what we're doing in Shakopee and believing in where the community is going enough that they'll put significant investments into our community. So it's fun to watch these happening. Another really great thing is Main Street Shakopee. Over the course of 2014, we had 11 new businesses start in Main Street. So that's a corridor from basically from Dangerfields to RAR is the best way to put it, and the downtown core area. And so that 11 new businesses in that area alone. And I want to make sure to say thank you to Laura back there. Laura, make sure to wave to everybody. Laura runs the Main Street program, and it's a chamber program. And the city puts money into that as well, but it is working really hard on organizing and selling and motivating people in the Main Street area to continue to invest in the city. So we've also had 14 building rehab projects. So if you've noticed, the downtown area looks a lot better lately. It does, because there have been a lot of people who've put a bunch of money into reinvesting in their buildings and doing that. We also, as the city, have participated in, of those 14 that were completed in 2014, the city has participated in 3 of those to help improve exterior roofs. For the Journey, the one in the background there, that grand opening was a lot of fun, and that's a great business who's doing really well in downtown. So it's fun to watch all these things happening, and knowing that everybody is committed and knowing that everyone believes that the downtown is a great place to be for the city of Shakopee. So other 24 things that have been going on. Parks and Recreation had a big year. This is a dog park. That's the Beagle down there, and my kids too. But so we did the ribbon cutting at Shakopee's very first dog park, which is a lot of fun and is a lot of fun to go to if anybody has a dog and wants to go over there. So we opened our first off-leash dog park, approved the designs for QUARRY Lake Park. We did really big expansions of our recreation offerings, as well as 6 indoor and outdoor pickleball courts, which if you're over, Jamie, what's the age? Any age, but generally if you're over the age of, we'll say 50. Pickleball is the bomb. So pickleball is where it's at, and so it's really good. It's catching on. It's a big sport. It's a really cool thing. So it's fun to see these things happening and us serving the community. So public safety also had a really big year, 2014. We did a major increase in our community interaction and social media presence. In the back in the center there is Jana Grassel. She started with us probably a year and a half, 2 years ago. And she has really worked hard on using social media and creating programs and really integrating our police department as part of the community. So instead of things that are happening across the country where communities and police departments are at odds with each other, we don't have that issue whatsoever. We have a police department that is very much part of our community, and it is a great thing to see. And with that, we've been getting a lot of recognition as a city for that and as a department. So we were the 2014 MAD Law Enforcement Agency of the Year. Officer Josh Davis was the MAD DWI All-Star, which I had to ask, it doesn't mean that he got a lot of DWIs. So it is the other way around, just in case anybody was curious. Jana Grassel, who is in the picture there, got Minnesota Crime Prevention Specialist of the Year. Officer Phil Anglin got SWAT Team Member of the Year. And then along public safety as well, we implemented a full-time fire department for the first time in Shakopee's history. In this 2014 was our first full year of having that, which was a big decision on City Council's part. So from there, we've got public safety, police department. 2014 crime rate was the lowest that Shakopee has seen in 21 years. So our crime rate dropped to 5.43% in 2014, which was a dramatic drop from where we were just 5 years ago, and a big drop over where we were even last year, which was a really good year for us. And so we don't want to talk about this a ton because what goes down eventually has to come up somewhere along the line, but our police department is doing a phenomenal job of taking care of the community, and we're really proud of the work that they're doing, especially this guy, right? Well, I messed it up, never mind. I was going to do something cool there, but I can't obviously run it. So then the next piece is, but back to that, I was going to recognize Jeff Tate, our police chief, who is incredible. He is doing a great job and getting a lot of really great people in the police department, and it's a lot of fun to watch that happen and see everything. So on our fire department side, 2013 we hired 4 full-time firefighters in Shakopee, which is the first time we've had full-time firefighters on a daily basis in the city. So in 2013 we did that because our average response time was at 13 minutes, just over 13 minutes, which is not great. Big part of the problem was that during the day we couldn't get part-time firefighters to respond quickly enough to get to fires, especially in the Southbridge area. So going from where our police stations are, our fire stations are, to the Southbridge area was pretty tough. And so we had 13 minutes response time for that, which wasn't good. So that's why we decided to go with 4 full-time firefighters. And so in 2014, our average response time dropped to under 6 minutes. So we went from 13 minutes as the average response time in 2013 to less than 6 minutes. It's like 5 minutes and 58 seconds or something like that. But under 6 minutes sounds cooler because it could be anywhere in there. But so under 6 minutes is amazing. So the firefighters are doing such a great job of, as well, being part of the community. The picture in the back is our Forget the Flood Friday, which Chris Wilson was so kind to put together for me. It kind of came out of nowhere when the floods happened, and the firefighters came and they showed up and they shot water into the middle of Main Street, First Avenue in downtown, and we had a ball. It was a lot of fun. So firefighters are doing great things as well, and Chief Rick Coleman is amazing, and he's doing a great job with the department and keeping things moving and progressing there at the fire department. So then from here we got Public Works, Engineering, and Community Development. This picture is from when the city, the SMSC gave a grant to the city to build a trail. And so this is a trail out by Quarry Lake Park by Emerson that we were able to open up this fall. And it was cold out that day as well. But it was really great to have it. So Public Works, Engineering, and Community Development, we did a lot of work this year on roads. So I'm sure nobody noticed, right? This summer it was really easy to get around town. Every time somebody yelled at me about roads, it was you couldn't throw a rock without hitting construction somewhere in the city in 2014. So there was a lot of work being done between the county and investments the county is making in Shakopee, and investments that we have in the state, and investments that we have going on as a city. So we completed the Marshall and Veerling reconstruction, which was a long project, but it's phenomenal that now that it's done. I think everybody's pretty happy with how that turned out. Valley Park Business Center, so that's where Emerson is. We did a lot of improvements to that ring road and a lot of infrastructure improvements over there, as well as we have at Veerling and Spencer, we have the first mini roundabout in the state, which is working really well. My dad always complains about it whenever he comes into town, that he hates going around the roundabout, but he's from the middle of nowhere in Iowa, so gravel roads are his thing and not necessarily roundabouts. But it works really well, and we're having tremendous success, and the biggest thing is safety at that intersection, and the crash rates and the severity of those crash rates are going down. So it's a really good thing. So then we also have broke ground on the 101 river crossing, which will be extraordinary, especially for downtown Shakopee, and getting a lot of those folks who work in Shakopee but live on the north side of the river in Eden Prairie and Minnetonka to Shakopee. So it's a really good thing to have that moving and going. They were delayed by that flood again. It caused some issues with being able to get that bridge started. So it is working and going. I think they finished Pier 8 the other day of 32 piers that are yet to come. So it's really good. So we've got that. A super sexy project is we installed sanitary sewer on the east side of Shakopee. So this one is really important for all those businesses down 101 near 169. And for Ziegler Cat, and allows them to expand because they were on septic at that building, which is crazy, but they were on septic, and so they couldn't expand because they had too many people for that. So now that they're on sanitary sewer, they're able to expand and grow jobs and be here in town. So same way with those businesses that are on that end, so it's a great, great thing. So significant road improvements and a lot of trail connections. Majority of these projects are all done by the two guys back there, Michael Leake and Bruce Loney, doing a phenomenal job as well for the community and keeping things going and progressing. And it's another thing that's a lot of fun to watch, except for the sewers. Bruce always brings like sewer videos to city council meetings.
Kathy, you asked for
Kathy, it's Kathy's fault again. We'll go with that. But it's a really good thing. So on the admin side of everything, there's been a lot of things happening in 2014 as well. We converted, we joined MVTA. So what that means for residents and commuters is that we have a lot more access and a lot more options for people as we get further into this relationship. Our commuter express buses went from Shakopee to Minneapolis and Minneapolis to Shakopee, and that's where it went. But starting this month, actually, we'll be able to go to the U of M campus in Minneapolis. We'll be able to go to, soon we'll be able to go to Burnsville and therefore St. Paul and a lot of different other places. So it opens up a really wide variety of places where our residents can go using transit, which will then take pressures off of the infrastructure, which is the 169 bridge, which is critical for our future. So we completed the transition from Blue Express to MVTA as of January 1 this year. Amended the sign ordinance, which thank you to Chamber for working on the sign ordinance. We got that done. That is great. Tree replacement policies, landscaping requirements got changed, which makes all those things better for businesses and works really well for the city. So I think a lot of great things happened through there. Focusing on communication, launched new websites. The new website at shakopeemn.gov is really great. Kristen Holtz does an incredible job of running our city's communication now. If you've seen, we have a lot bigger presence on Twitter and Facebook and social media, which really keeps residents connected to what's going on in the community, which is really important for us. So we have launched a new website, social media, and are focusing a lot on customer service. Everybody's going through customer service training in the city right now to make sure that those frontline folks who are really interacting with the businesses and residents are really as high quality as they could possibly be, and everybody is trained and understands what good customer service looks like, because in governmental agencies that's not always the #1 priority of people, and we are, as council, have made decisions to make customer service one of the most important things that we do at the city. So it's a great thing to watch happen. And then also another fun one is the transition to new citywide garbage service. Pretty rocking, right? Yeah. So that is done at least. So we're there. All right. So one last thing we did in 2014 was a community survey. This is the first time a true scientific community survey had been done in the city of Shakopee in eons. I mean, I don't know.
23 years.
23 years, which is basically like an eon. But so 23 years it had been since we've done a community survey in Shakopee, and it was a big survey. It was done in between Thanksgiving and Christmas, toward the end of middle end of December, and so it was a huge survey. It's got a ton of questions on it. And there are some phenomenal things, and there's some things that we obviously need to work on that we know about. But just a snapshot of a couple of them here is our quality of life in Shakopee. So our quality of life that everybody rated as excellent or good in the city of Shakopee is 93%. So of 400 residents that were surveyed, which is a very good statistical analysis, 93% of those say the quality of life in Shakopee is good or excellent, which I was really excited about that. So then we've got strength of our community. 83% said it's good or excellent, which means are we neighborly? Do people understand where they live and what Shakopee means and why that is? So at 83% of everybody says strength of community is either good or excellent, which is one we can definitely continue to work on. Then right or wrong track. 81% of Shakopee residents think that the city is on the right track. So 4 out of 5 residents think that we're going in the right direction for where we're at as a community, which very much reflects our council as well. So we've got right or wrong track, 81% is in good shape. So we've got average taxes. So 48% of our residents think that our taxes in the city of Shakopee are about right or somewhat low. This is something we need to work on communication-wise, because we know at the the facts, our taxes are really low compared to peer cities throughout the metro. So this is a communication piece, or everybody just hates paying taxes. It's one or the other, and we're never going to get that one up. So, so 48% think our taxes are about right or somewhat low, and then 43% think they're somewhat high or very high. So that's where we're at there. And this is another one that I thought was really great, is that the value of services that we provide, so the value of what people get for their tax dollar, 78%, so almost 80% think that our value is good for the city, which I was extremely pleased with these numbers. I think it's going in the right direction, and that we're in really good shape for that. So these are all things that we can work on and continue to improve on, and that's the next thing. So we're going in, where are we going in 2015? So this is Park and Rec. Jamie Pauley does a lot of great programs at the community center involving kids, and this is one of them. This is from Halloween, right, Jamie? And there's a lot of fun to see, and having a 3-year-old and a 7-year-old, it's fun to go to as well. So where are we going in 2015? Council has identified 3 major things that we are going to work on in 2015. One of those is organizational future of the city government structure. Parks and Recreation is a second one. And then third one is economic development, which I'm sure that's a big surprise to everybody. But those 3 things are what we're majorly working on in 2015. And I'll get into the details of those here. So our organizational future, the vision of where we're going has been up for debate lately, but City Council has identified multiple things that we as a community are working on. One of those, the first directive that we put together, was focusing on the downtown area. So focusing on downtown Shakopee is really important to us as a City Council. Job creation is another one that's really important to us as a City Council, for using incentives appropriately and making sure that they make sense for the community to build jobs here so people can live and work here. Planning for infrastructure and investing in that infrastructure. Last year was the largest expenditure the city has had in its history on road projects. So again, you all saw that, but that's investing in our roads and reconstruction and getting a lot of things done that really had to get done in the community that had been put off for quite some time. So we've got infrastructure needs, using plain language in everything we do. And one of the biggest ones is working on a culture of efficiency and customer service. And so these are the things that we really believe in as a council and that we are working on for our community. So we've got those 5 things there. And then big thing that's going on now, obviously, is hiring a new city administrator. So where we're at currently, just to give everybody an update, is that in February, so at the next City Council meeting, we had our first look at the position profile last night at City Council. And so we had the first look at that. We're going to adopt that on February 17th at our next City Council meeting. And then March and April, end of March, early April, we'll be conducting interviews. So for hiring the next city administrator, then we hope to have whoever the next city administrator will be on board in May. So that is our timeline for how all this works out and moves forward. And then as well, we are sadly losing our finance director, Julie Linehan, who's not here today, is incredible. And her last day, February 27th is her last day now. She was going to be retire on January 30th, but she stuck around to help us out. So we really appreciate that, right? Yeah. So having Julie stay around for another month is great. And we have hired an interim finance director who will start the middle of February and will work through fall in the city of Shakopee. And then the new city administrator will hire a new finance director. That little puzzle pieces all line up there for us. So that's where we're headed staffing wise with the city. And so we have a lot of things going on organizationally right now that we need to get our arms around. So within city government, we have a few major studies and projects going on. One of those is City Hall. We are looking at where are we going in the future for City Hall, because the current City Hall doesn't necessarily meet all of our needs as the city grows, and it doesn't really work organizationally as well as we hope. So do we renovate City Hall? Do we bulldoze the building? and sell it? Do we build a new city hall? What happens with that? We're in the middle of a big study and trying to figure that out right now. So we're working on where we go with City Hall. Then we've got quite a few retirements and opportunities coming up over the course of the next 18 to 36 months within our department heads. We aren't, in our department heads, we're not the youngest organization whatsoever. And Bruce will be leaving us soon, which everybody can convince him to stick around for a while. Yeah, but it is something that we really need to look at organizationally. How do we function, and how does organization fit the needs of the community 10, 20 years down the road? So we're working on that, as well as a significant organizational chart revision and how we actually conduct business on a day-to-day basis at the city. We talked about this again for the, we saw some options for it last night, and this is one of the worst pictures ever because I just took it while I was at council last night. But we're looking at multiple options right now. Our city administrator has 10 direct reports currently, the way our org chart is set up, which is way too many people. And so we need to streamline that and pull down the silos and reduce the communication issues that manifest themselves between our different departments, because they're not, everybody's very physically separated and the work that gets done is separated. And so we're going to work on that with different organizational structure, which we will be, I'd say within the next 2 to 3 months, we'll have that really nailed down, especially before the new city administrator starts. I think it's important that we get that figured out in that piece. So organizational change is what everyone will see a lot of over the course of the next probably 6 months or so. So just bear with us as we get through these different things that are happening, and we will get there. So, so Parks and Recreation, next big thing that we're working on in 2015. There are a couple of major projects that are happening in the city. First one that we have already identified is Quarry Lake Park. Jamie is doing an incredible job with Quarry Lake. This is Quarry Lake. The city has owned this since the mid-2000s, and haven't been able to develop it at all because there wasn't public access. The Emerson project getting done allows us to have a public access back to the area. So we are, everything down on the right and below is a old quarry that's a lake, which gives us the most clever name ever for a park. So we've got Quarry Lake Park, and so what will be happening at Quarry Lake Park is there will be 2 buildings that are going to be put in. One at the top there is just a normal park structure, so it's going to be just a picnic shelter basically. There's going to be a playground, an open lawn area. Also on the top left is going to be training area for ATVs and snowmobiles. And then on the lake side of things, we're going to be putting in, which will need business community's help with this. We want to put in a fairly major environmental learning center, which we'll need people to partner with and to help us get this done. But it's going to be a very nice building set on the lake for people to hold meetings and for people to utilize this in the community. It's also going to have fishing piers. It's also going to have the Shakopee Prior Lake Water Ski Association will be having water ski shows out there. So on the south end of the lake, there will be bleachers. So if anybody went out this summer and saw the couple of shows that they had, it was phenomenal. So it's really cool watching it all happen. So Quarry Lake is going to be one of the big things that happens. It all will get developed in 2015. So it's a cool project. So the next thing is Community Center 2.0. We have in Shakopee Community Center that does not meet the needs of our community any longer. It was built in the mid-90s when we had 15,000 or less people in the city. Now we have 40,000. It just simply doesn't meet the needs of the community. We need to invest in a community center to make sure that we're going to meet the needs of today's residents as well as those 10, 20 years down the road. So part of the community survey as well that was done was based on the amenities. We've been talking about this project for a while, and so we were able to survey the community on what they thought about community centers. So the couple of them that we surveyed on, indoor pool. is one thing that I'd like to get built out there. 67% of the community said they strongly support or somewhat support an indoor pool at the community center. Indoor playground, 53% of the community said they somewhat support or strongly support an indoor playground. Expansion of the fitness center, 63% said they would support it. Second sheet of ice, 41% said they'd support it. Indoor turf area, which would probably be a bubble, 43% say they support it. Senior center, 58% of the community said that they would support investing in a senior center in Shakopee. So I was really nervous asking these questions on the survey because if I didn't really like the answers, there's no way you can go back on that. But I like these answers. I like the way this turned out. Everything is not going to appeal to everyone. It is not going to be a single solution for that every single person in the community is going to be extremely happy with every single investment we make in a community center. But what this does say to us is that there's a lot of support out there for making investments in our community. And so I was really excited with how these turned out, and there's a whole slew of other ones for visual arts and for community theater and other things like that that go along with it as well. So where we're at with this project today is we're in the middle of a feasibility and architectural study. So we're looking at what the community center will look like when it grows up. So how does that make sense and how does it work? And what will it cost to get done as well? So we'll have an update. Number one will be the end of February coming to council. So council will get an update on where we're at with the studies. Update number two will be in the end of March. And so we'll figure out where we're going and what our next steps will be. And I don't know where this project will end up. We don't know what the costs will end up for it. We don't know. We have some extremely good ways to pay for it. There are some really good things that are happening in the community for how we can pay for it and how we can get it done without being significant impact to the community, to the business folks in Shakopee and to the residents. So it's pretty fun to be watching those things happening. So we'll be talking about the financing and how that all works out the end of March. So we've got a couple major things that are working on financing, who would be using it and who would be partnering with us for getting these things done. So those are other things that are happening at the same time. So this is kind of the direction we're going with the community center project. And I've just got a couple more minutes here and then we'll start asking questions, and if anybody has questions I can answer them. And if not, then we can all go on our merry way for the day. So the last piece of the major things that are happening in 2015 is the economic development piece. Again, 2014 was an extraordinary year, and 2015 will also be. It's shaping up right now to be a really big year. Council, we have identified working on the west end of town. So what we've got right now, our business park is up in, let's see if I screw this up this time. So our business park is up in this area up here. As you look at this, the purple are the only open pieces of land that we've got left. And 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 of those are currently spoken for. So the vast majority of that acreage that's in our industrial park is being used. So we're basically out of space on that end of town, which means that we've got a big opportunity coming up. And what we're going to do is we're focusing on the east end of town. And so on the east end of town, we have the areas within the City of Shakopee. Last night, City Council put a 1-year moratorium on development in that area so that we can do a pretty large master planning study on that spot. So we've got this area all within Shakopee is currently in the City of Shakopee but not developed. And so we need to make sure that we know what that's going to be on the next few phases so that we don't end up with a car dealership right there. It just doesn't work out well. Not that we don't like car dealerships, but it's just not great for development and what the rest of everything that go around, along with it would be. So it's really important to us that we continue to work on that. So we're working on a like I said, we have a 12-month development moratorium on the west end of town, which we hope to have finished sooner than that. We hope to have that done in 8 months or so for the master planning piece. So we're going to master plan for how that whole area on the west end of town fits together. We really feel that there needs to be more services and more retail on the west end of town to meet the needs of those residents. And there simply aren't enough rooftops out there to make retail extremely viable in that section of town. So we need to have a master planning process to show these are the residences that we feel would work in this end of town and how we can make that happen. So it's a big piece of that further development of the community. The city has purchased this 30+ acres right there between the mall and 169. So we have bought that land, it's in our hands now, and that is going to be part of the master planning process. We want to have that as a mixed use, residential, retail type atmosphere and environment that really matches with the south side of 169 and what all is going on there. And our master planning process will also take into this area through here is Jackson Township. So we're meeting in a couple weeks here again with Jackson Township and Scott County to really say what that area needs to have going on. So we have a very good collaborative process with getting that area developed. And so it's that is really the next big piece of development and planning that the city needs to have going on. And in order for those landowners out there to be successful, it needs to happen as well. So it's a very good partnership and a lot of work being done on that as we go into the future. Not sure what just happened there, but that says down there transit on 169, and there will be, and circulator buses. So we are also doing another study in conjunction with a lot of different folks on 169 and bus rapid transit from 610 all the way to the north down through the Marshall Road Transit Station. So Met Council and MnDOT are working on a project for bus rapid transit, maybe a sane lane on 169. Don't exactly know what it's going to be, but they're working on how to get transit and how to get better efficiency through that area for our commuters, as well as a circulator study with MVTA for all of northern Scott County, so that that bus that goes for people who don't drive, so that they can get to work better, and so we have a much better way for people to get around the community. So then next piece is Main Street development. Back to that again. Already in 2015, we've had 4 ribbon cuttings, or will have 4 ribbon cuttings in January and February. So those are not included in the businesses I talked about with 2014. So it's pretty exciting that those investments are still happening. The city has committed $500 grand a year for the next 3 years into the downtown area. So we're going to be doing a study on streetscapes and how that how the streets and the area really interacts with the businesses and the residents, and how we can make it even better down in that area, as well as railroad safety study and looking at a quiet zone for the railroad. Everybody loves the railroad, right? Yeah, but everybody has an opinion about the railroad, it's for sure. And so we are working on a safety study and therefore in conjunction with that, a quiet zone study for how we can shut the train up as it goes through town, especially at 3 o'clock in the morning. I think that's it's a good thing to ask, and we'll figure out how to get it done, and how much money it's going to cost is the biggest piece of that, and who's going to pay for it. So we're working on all those things. Bruce is heading up that project. And then we also have new restaurants. We have 2 and maybe 3 new restaurants going into the downtown area this summer. They should hopefully be open by mid-summer. I'm not going to spoil all the fun for the folks who have announcements to make, but it's great to see that happening. That is really the next phase. We've got businesses going into the area. We've got multiple restaurants wanting to be in the area, so it's really a great place to go with a family and to have fun. Parks and Rec is putting together a ton of programs for the summer, and so it's exciting to see it all happening. And so the last one is new projects in the city. So this is my last slide here, and that's Isla. She is 3, and my daughter, and she went out to do the fun run on Canterbury Park's track, and she got out there and she decided to take her shoes off, which is not the greatest idea ever for a kid running on a horse track, but that's what she did, and that's her gig. So it was pretty funny to watch it all happen. So we've got a lot of things happening. The Land of Big Fun, the River South partnership is moving forward. It's in a little different configuration than I expected it to happen, but it's moving forward. It'll be great for our area and our attractions. Canterbury Park is working on a major retail destination. We're in the beginning phases of that project really becoming a reality. So as everybody in the city will be working hard on this project for the next 6 months or so, it's going to have a lot of great retail, a lot of great residential, office park, really good things. So it's exciting to see that next level of development, and more importantly, redevelopment happening within the community. And so that's a really important thing coming through. We have major expansions of existing businesses coming in Shakopee this year. We'll have a couple of major ones that will start going through the city here in the next few months, which will be great to see more existing companies investing and continuing to invest in our community. So then the last one is we've got major new industrial users, and we can't talk a ton about these right now, so I'm just going to tease it, that we've got really big things and exciting things happening in our industrial park and within the city, because people have identified Shakopee as a great place to be. People have identified, developers and tenants have identified our workforce as an incredible workforce, and Shakopee is one of the most, Northern Scott County is one of the most well-educated places per capita in the state of Minnesota. So and we're a well-educated state at that, and so it's really great to see all those stats and all of that work that's been done by a lot of folks. Most importantly, Sam DiMaggio over there. Wave to everybody, Sam. Yeah. There you go. So Sam has been working extremely hard on getting these things from just ideas and concepts into reality, and making sure that we're delivering to our developers and tenants what they really want to see happening in the city. So it's exciting and it's a lot of fun. I look forward to everybody's questions that they've got. I know there's a lot of stuff, and I know I hit you with a ton of information here. So you have questions. I'd love to answer them. But just above all, there's a lot of great things happening in our community, and I really appreciate the business community's support of a lot of things that are happening. Even if they don't directly support your businesses, you've been phenomenal on supporting the initiatives and different things that have been going on in our community to really make it work, because you can't have anything as an island. It just doesn't function on its own. We have to have a lot of different, a good base of things going on in order to make it all work as a community, and make it all work as a great place to live. So that is what I've got there. So thank you.